The Ghasts, creatures known for their friendly sounds within the Nether. These flying marshmallows have been in Minecraft since 2010. But what is their story, and why do they exist? The first glimpse we received into the existence of the Ghasts comes from a tweet by Notch, the creator of Minecraft, who stated on October 11th, 2010, that he was working on, quote, the most unfair mob ever, followed by, you will hate the Ghast. And well, he wasn't wrong. For on October 29th, 2010, the Ghasts were added to Minecraft. Now, if you've ever played Minecraft, which you probably have, you are watching this video after all, then you will know of the great joys of encountering a Ghast. Picture this, you spawn into the Nether for the first time, excited to explore this new realm, but then a Ghast appears, and it shoots, and you lose everything as all your items burn away. Or maybe you see a Nether fortress across the ocean, so you start bridging, excited to reach this new structure, but then a Ghast appears, and you get shot into lava. Or maybe you just want to spend your time building a small Nether outpost from blast-proof materials. Well, even then you're not safe from the Ghasts, as you'll be constantly tormented to their endless mournful screeches as they fly around, constantly crying. So these marshmallows are quite annoying, but they are also a key part of the Nether, and they're very recognisable. And also, there is a rather simple way to just get rid of them, for whenever they shoot their fireballs, you can just hit them right back. Now, this might be a little bit of a challenge. However, if you calculate the correct angle, and you strike at the right moment, the fireball will be redirected to the mysterious Ghast, which on impact will kill the Ghast instantly. And also, grant the Return to Sender achievement. Now, when a Ghast dies, it drops experience orbs, just like, well, every other creature. But it also has the chance to drop gunpowder. But more importantly than that, it has the chance to drop the Ghast here. While seemingly a useless item, this one drop might reveal more about the Ghast's mysterious story than basically anything else, but I'll get into that later within this video. So the Ghast love the Soul Sand Valleys. Well, sort of. The Ghast can, in theory, go wherever they want. They are flying blobs after all, and so their only limit to where they can go is space, but the Nether is fairly open, and so there aren't too many limits. But whilst we might find Ghasts all over the Nether, they are found in a noticeable greater frequency within the Soul Sand Valleys, thus implying that they want to stay in that environment. And again, I'll get into why that is later within this video. Now, a player could, in theory, move a Ghast around to anywhere that they wanted to, but that's not an easy feat, because to do that you need to somehow trap a Ghast in one location, place down a railway, and then get that Ghast into a minecart. But from there on, you can simply just build a track and take your new friend wherever you want. Maybe you want to keep the Ghast as a decoration within your Nether base, or maybe you want to prank your friend by bringing thousands of Ghasts and surrounding their Nether base, so that way when they spawn into the Nether, they explode, and all their items are exploded, and they lose everything that they worked so hard for. You know, just a small prank that would be totally justifiable if they weren't subscribed, you know. Obviously, in all seriousness, for those of you seeking a real challenge with the Ghast, you could move on to the overworld. Now this is quite a challenge, but successfully doing so, and then, well, ending its misery, will earn you the Uneasy Alliance achievement. Probably one of the most difficult achievements within Minecraft. Now, achievements, or advancements, typically don't really matter. They're more just suggestions of fun but difficult tasks for players to complete, but this achievement, Uneasy Alliance, might just reveal something far deeper about the Ghast story. For this achievement requires you to do the following: rescue a Ghast from the Nether, bring it safely home to the overworld, and then kill it. Wait, did you catch that? Rescue a Ghast from the Nether, bring it safely home to the overworld, and then kill it. Well, that's interesting. The Ghast's home is the overworld, not the Nether, and yet we only find Ghasts within the Nether. They never naturally spawn in the overworld. If a creature's home is in one place, and they have zero existence in that home whatsoever, yet are not extinct and are in fact alive in other areas, well, that just implies a systematic movement of those creatures. This is because there is no way that all creatures of the same species would naturally leave their home and not go extinct, with no remaining creatures in the original home. It's just not possible. In addition to that, to get to the Nether from the overworld, one must build a Nether portal. But those don't just spawn naturally, they must be made with intention. And so for all the Ghast to be in the Nether, when their home is clearly in the overworld, someone, or a group of beings, must have forcefully moved them. There's no other option. Now, given the fact that these Ghasts drop gunpowder, we might be able to assume that they share a common ancestor with the Creepers, as these are the only two entities that drop gunpowder, and it would make some sort of sense if they both originated from the same beings. Perhaps the pre-Ghast creeper forms were even underwater explosive squids, and that could somewhat explain the tentacles that they have. So the Ghast could be a combination of squids and creepers from an ancient time. Additionally, we might be able to assume that when these Ghasts, or what would later become the Ghasts, were taken into the Nether, they were taken into the Soul Sand Valleys. This is because the Soul Sand Valleys are just so filled with death. The souls of the land, or the extreme heat and hostile environment, might have ripped the skeletons out of these pre-Ghast entities instantly, thus explaining why there's fossils all over the Soul Sand Valleys. But because the Nether is so dense, the souls of those pre-Ghast entities wouldn't have been able to rise and escape the bounds of this world, and instead, they would have been trapped in an undead soul state within the Nether. They would have become eternally lost souls, known otherwise as the Ghasts. That's how they came to be. And that could also be why they're the most common within the Soul Sand Valleys. That was the first biome that they entered within the Nether. Not only could this heat and the dense atmosphere keep the Ghasts in this soul state, but it could also inflict serious pain onto the Ghasts. If they were actually explosive, creeper, squid-like entities before this, they would have lived in the ocean, and water in the ocean is quite cold. So they would have been evolved to these cold conditions, but now they were forced to be in this eternal soul state, within the hottest known place within the Minecraft universe, and there is nothing that they can do to cool down. The physical torment of overheating would be eternal and endlessly painful. Their stomachs would likely still be filled with the gunpowder from their past life, but it might expand due to the heat, and that could potentially explain how the fireballs that they release are created. So the Ghasts were all forcefully taken away from their homes, were killed in the Hell Dimension, had their souls separated from their skeletons, and then had their souls trapped in a dimension where they can't escape, and are in constant pain from the heat. And they can't do anything about it. So, yeah, it does make sense why they're always sad and crying. That's a terrible thing to go through. In fact, you can even see how much they cry due to the marks under their eyes. They're really upset. And they must hate the Nether. They clearly don't want to be here. Maybe the beings that did this to them were similar to the player, and so that might explain why the Ghasts are so angry at the players and attack them. We remind the Ghasts of the beings that did this to them, and they just want to get their revenge. But all of this raises the question of why. Why did that mysterious group do all of this? Remember those Ghast tears? Well, the Ghast tears only come from the Ghasts, hence their name, and whilst they might seem useless, they do actually have a very important purpose. Having a Ghast tear, along with an Eye of Ender, and then surrounding that by glass blocks, one can create the End Crystal. Now you might be wondering, what exactly did the End Crystals do? Well, they can respawn the mighty Ender Dragon. So maybe this mysterious group found the End Dimension, and they killed the dragon. But they wanted to get another dragon, and they somehow believed they might have found a way to do that. They just needed a tear of the saddest being in the entire universe. So they took these pre-Ghast creeper squids into the Nether and subjected them to the worst possible torture, placing them in their most hated conditions, heat. Maybe those creatures before this happened loved being in the coldest part of the oceans, and were in fact the happiest beings in Minecraft. But this great change upset them so greatly that they became the saddest, and so they're constantly crying, and the tears that they release are of pure sadness and sorrow, mourning the life that they once had. Perhaps once those beings found out that this tier could actually be used to respawn the Ender Dragon, they could have gone on a rampage, systematically stealing every single pre-Ghast creeper squid and taking them to the Nether, so that all of them could be subjected to this great torture, and thus allowing these selfish beings to harvest more tears. Maybe after the group did all this, they realised that they had enough tears for everything that they wanted to do, and so they selfishly just left the remaining Ghast within the Nether, leaving them to be eternally tortured. And after that, they would have shut off any portals that they would have used to inflict this great pain. So what happened to that group after this occurred? Well, to be honest, we don't exactly know. But what happened to the Ghast though? That is the main focus of this video. Well, many of them would have remained in the Soul Sand Valleys, near their skeletons. Those bones remind them of what they once were. And that, in a weird way, brings solace to many of the Ghasts and slightly brings them peace. But other Ghasts are too traumatized to be reminded of what they once were, and so they explore the Nether, getting away into all the different biomes. All the Ghasts are in excruciating pain, and they are all very sad. They just want to go home. They never wanted any of this. Their struggle is immense. But wait, if the Ghast struggle so much in the Nether, how do other creatures survive? The answer might surprise you. Check out this video to find out.